Okay, had a gang. Decided to put together a little video chat with you. I've received a few questions in email about the upcoming knowledge grid assignment for the ancient context. And figured I'll just chat at you with my thinking about what's going on behind this assignment and what I'm kind of hoping to achieve here. So, as I think you know, this is like a rebooted version of this class, and I'm trying out some new things, and these assignments, these knowledge grids, and then the next one, some kind of graphic, I forget, was an attempt to do something that isn't just a paper, but isn't something just like silly and pointless. As I think I've explained, I think you know, like I'm really interested in the concepts that really undergird, thinking about rhetoric and practices of rhetoric. And so everything that I do tends to kind of gravitate toward analysis and using concepts, explaining concepts, applying concepts, illustrating concepts, right? And so that's kind of what we're doing here. The other goal of this grid exercise is to help you get really good on the models. It's certainly in this ancient context, right? And so what it's asking you to do is just take the major models and kind of break them up into their sort of four categories, and then address them through each of these. Sorry, I probably should have a copy of it right next to me, but there was like power, ethics, there was emotional kind of reaction, right? And let me just quickly bounce over here. Power, ethics, communicative purpose, emotional impact, and epistemological implications. So what we're doing here is we are just thinking about the models from these different angles, these different vantages. And all I'm asking you to do is to kind of fill in the blanks. But mostly what we're interested in doing here is understanding the models and the distinctions between the models and within the models in terms of these different considerations. Okay, so that's where the kind of the core business of this assignment is taking place. I don't think that I'm particularly obsessed with and you guys coming up with an actual grid. I just reread the instructions and it said matrix, so that's a little confusing. I need to be a little more descriptive with like what I'm asking you here. And so I had a student come into my office today, and she showed me kind of what she's got going so far, and it was basically just like a heading, Platonic rhetoric, and then underneath it is like power and each of the categories with a nice, juicy, concise, pithy paragraph. There's references, there's quotations, there's explanations, and I think that was basically kind of perfect, right? So I'm not needing an actual, spreadsheet or grid or whatever, because you're not going to be able to fit these paragraphs adequately, and so it's going to be messy. Perhaps the way you can think about it. Now, because this is the first time we're doing this, we have some poetic license here, and honestly, how I proceed with this assignment will largely be determined by how you guys do and what works and what doesn't work. So don't be too stressed out about what Conley's thinking he exactly wants. The main thing that I'm interested in is understanding these distinctions, understanding the models and how they're different or similar to one another, but also understanding these different dimensions within the models, right? We can certainly talk about power in terms of each of these four models, and we're going to be thinking about it differently. Where is the power? How does the model itself think about power? Is it good? Is it bad? Where is it coming from? How is it exercised, right? The ethical question, I think it's kind of easier when we get the Gorgianic model, and it's pretty easy in the kind of an alternative sense with the Platonic model. But what about Aristotle, and what about Cicero and that model, and the Socratean model? And there are answers to all of this stuff, and they are in our materials. So this assignment is asking you to kind of go dig back into the materials a little bit, get really good on these models and their distinctions and understand how to sort of explain these different dimensions for each of these models. And I'm happy, right? Do be thinking about, well, let me back up here. So in terms of how you actually kind of visually arrange this, if you do what that student did, if you just have like at the top of one page, here is the Platonic model, and then paragraph, 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 with the subheadings of what each of the different dimensions are, that would be great. If you want to put a little line in between them, that would be cool. Maybe a little box if you want. It maybe would be cool if just try to get everything clean within pages. So maybe you could print off the pages and you can create a big master grid. Maybe you could put it on your wall and you could say when you're studying, like, this is how I can understand the distinctions within and between these models. It's really meant to help you, as we proceed and understand where things might go. And so that's the idea here, is we're creating a handy tool or heuristic, which is a kind of mechanism to help you do things, an instrument. I hope it is useful for you. The student that came in today had some really great stuff in there, and she was really understanding the kind of like the subtle distinctions between and among the models. And that's really all I'm interested in hearing. There was questions about the emotional, the vibes part of it. Honestly, answer that how you like, right? Like, how does the model think about vibes and emotions, but also what kind of vibes does the model give off, right? So go ahead and kind of answer that freely. As long as you're trying to think about, and this is the last thing I'll say, for each of those little boxes, each little paragraph, and it doesn't have to be 150 words, it can be, less than 100, but if you're getting some good ideas in there, and it's not just a couple of sentences, but a little bit more, think about Toulmin, think about data. First of all, think about claim. This is what you want to say about this dimension of this model. And then you want to prove how you know that. And then the warrant is just the explanation. So as long as you're doing those things and making a kind of an argument about how this model exemplifies this dimension, this dimension, this dimension, I think you'll be fine. Go ahead and add citations. Go ahead and add, quotes and page numbers, and all of that stuff is showing me that you are knowing where to find things and where things are, and you're pointing specifically to specific places, and it all just helps your own ethos as the author of this piece. So 7.5 minutes, yeah, that should be good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I missed here. If there's any other questions beyond that, you're free to email me or set up a call or whatever, but I just wanted to let you know that, again, first time we're doing this, so there's some poetic license you are being granted here. I'm not interested in catching anyone. I'm just like, hey, let's try this. Hopefully you have some fun with it, or at least sort of like have some useful engagement with these ideas and putting them together and seeing how everything fits. That's the hope here. All right, so hope everyone is well, and good luck with this task, and talk more soon. All right, peace.